Yes, people, we're back. Episode 3. We've got Jephin.
Hello.
We got James.
Hi.
And today we've got Mr. Elliot Taylor himself.
How are we doing, boys? How are we doing?
How are we? All right, mate. How are you?
Not too bad. Pleasure to be here.
How are you coping in these bad times?
You know what? I'm doing all right. I've been slacking exercise-wise, but I was getting into it today. It's been a while.
Good,
but
productive.
I've been good, yeah. Trying to be as productive as I can and just getting on with the music, which I'm sure you're all interested to hear me waffle.
Is that the main proportion of the productivity? Is that the music you're getting on with that mainly?
I'd say so, yeah. And also because, well, I go to a music college, so any homework or assignments or just lessons that I do is all about music. So it is pretty much the bulk of my life.
Does it feel like work/school, or does it feel like just leisure?
Well, I think it does depend on what I'm doing,
topics and
especially what lesson and what subject. Because I do production, backline tech, event management, career planning, and extended studies.
Oh,
I'm not sure if I'm missing anything.
There's a lot of subjects that you do then.
It is actually.
So it's not just one subject, no.
Yeah. There's loads of different aspects to it, really, and I think some I prefer more than others. So some feel like a drag, but on the most part, they do. It is quite enjoyable, and it does just feel like I'm just having fun.
No, which are the ones that are the drags, and which one are the ones that entice you?
Not to name any names, but the lessons I have with Dan are quite bad because I not sending for anyone in particular, Dan, but
the mob has made an enemy.
Oh, I think it's more just because he's not quite adapted to the online teaching, and we do a lot of online. It is pretty much entirely just Zoom calls, and that he teaches backline tech, which, if you don't know, is pretty much all practical. It's the stuff. Backline tech covers whether you're fixing guitar or miking up a drum kit, or just like the actual gear.
Oh, do you have this all at home?
I mean, I have a limited bit of gear, but it's one of those things that we'd actually be doing when we go into college. So they have all the gear on site, and then it's more hands-on, so it's very hard to do over a Zoom call.
Yeah, I can imagine. So we want to get into the main topic, which is quite predictable. It is music. So, how's your music taste transitioned? So, let's start from now and go back. Right now, what's your top 5, basically?
Yeah, that is a very good question, and I think it really has transitioned quite a lot, and it's gone kind of back in time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I guess because it always has been, and I myself, my first true love, I think, when I first started listening to my own following my own music taste was rap, and then I started listening to more old rap, and then it's almost the way that it's worked is thinking about the things that would be sampled in rap and the oldest hip hop, thinking about the samples and then almost listening now to what they would have sampled. So it's loads 70s soul and funk and jazz, pretty much. It is really just kind of, I like to think of it that way, that it is always going to be inspired by hip hop.
Yeah,
but it's completely. If I just look at, I'm going on Spotify now. It is mainly R&B, to be honest. I'm loving at the moment Daniel Caesar, Lauryn Hill. Let's have a look.
These
Who
are actually
else?
foreign names to me. So are
Well,
these
I
old
really
these are
reckon-
old guys?
well, actually, I contradict myself because Daniel Caesar, this is quite. I'm loving his album from only like 2 years ago, I
Oh,
think.
okay, yeah.
And then there's Lauren Hill, who, honest, legend. And she released an album in the 90s, the late 90s, early 2000s R&B, and it's just incredible.
Are these actually
So
quite obscure, or should I actually know these people?
I think that it depends really on what type of music you listen
Or
to.
music
So
taste.
yeah, it really depends. If you don't listen to it at all, then I wouldn't expect you to know some of the names. But I think if within the R&B world and even hip hop, Lauren Hill's quite well known, and then Daniel Caesar's like a new upcoming artist, and he's got a good following.
Okay.
Now, I'm like such a noob with music and everything. So what actually is R&B like?
Well, it's one of those that I don't actually know what it stands for, and I don't. You could do a quick Google search, but I
Yeah,
kind
I'll
of
do
like
it.
not knowing what it actually means.
Oh,
And
okay.
R&B
it's
song.
kind of like it's basically it just covers just singing, like singing, and it has influences of hip hop. So
Right.
if you think Rihanna, Rihanna's a good
Yeah.
example of R&B that's kind of pop, and who else? Who else? I mean, Daniel Caesar. That's a good shout. I recommend if you haven't listened to him to listen to him because
Daniel
basically,
Caesar, right. Yeah.
yeah, it's like song. It's more focused around the songwriting and the singing and the actual like singing ability than rapping. But it does have influences.
Yeah.
If that answers you.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Have you ever
So,
tried to? Like I know you've always well for quite a while now you've been making beats or anything, but have you ever felt like becoming making your own songs with lyrics and stuff and even singing over the top of it? Has that ever been an interest, or you're mainly on the beats kind of side of things?
Yeah, actually, I think recently I have been doing more stuff that's focused around like when I sit down and make something, it's less I'm thinking, oh, who could sing or rap over this. It's more about I want to do something now.
You're adding your
It's
own.
yeah,
Yeah, you've got all the layers to it instead of.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Is that in a kind of R&B style, or is that in a different kind of style?
I think it is actually. Yeah, I've been like unsure which type of music I would make if I did put something out, and I've kind of settled on R&B recently. It really does just like it's one of those that you just feel, and I think I just looked at music that I listen to and all the music I like, and just because of how like when I hear a good R&B song, it's just above anything else. It just feels great. So I just want to make music like that I would listen to, and I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So when did you first realise that music was your calling in life, or have you always known that?
I think it must have been actually Connor. It was. I remember the first time that I properly got into producing. I think it was like nearly like 2 years ago, when
Oh.
I went to Brad's house with Connor, and we won't say any more than that because we won't incriminate.
Yeah.
But you know what you do
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
go to
yeah,
Brad's
yeah,
house.
yeah. Just leave it
And
up there.
it was just dead good, and I just remember then that's when I first started, and I met actually Alfie, who's a producer, one of
Yeah.
Connor's mates, and then I properly decided like I actually do want to do this now. I'm taking it seriously.
Yeah.
But it has actually, I think I've always loved music, and music's been a big part of my life, whether I knew it or not. And especially just creating stuff. Like I've always liked making. So I think it must have been, yeah, like 2 years ago when I properly decided I actually really want to start putting stuff out. But yeah, I mean, I've always just kind of liked the idea of, just getting on a stage or just singing or whatever it is, to be honest. Just
Do you think you're
making.
quite like a natural showman? It might not be the best word, but in that way.
I think it's something that I could work on, but it's something that when you've worked hard at something and when you've like honed your craft, you kind of feel comfortable showing it to other people because you know that it's good because you've like done the effort. You know, you've spent hours on it, so you know that it's something that people would like because you've worked so hard on it. So I think to an extent, yeah. I think I need to. I don't think it's a natural thing. It's something that I've worked at, to be honest.
Yeah. So I remember we did a podcast about, must be 10, 11 months now. And I remember that went a while, and we talked about extensively. This is why I'm quite shocked about this change, because we talked extensively about, I seem to remember Kendrick and Kanye coming up a lot. Are they still a love, or is that transition?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I think always, yeah. I do still love them, and but it has been more of a. They're the artists that I will always listen to, and I always will love, and just that type of rap and hip hop. And I could, still waffle about them if somebody actually cared and someone came up to me and was like, "Oh, come on, now just list everything that you know about Kendrick." So I could still do that, but it's more. If I look at my playlist and what's been added in general, it's kind of shifted more towards. I don't really listen to much new rap. Or I hate when people say that, like those old heads who are like, "Oh, the music nowadays, it's not like it was." But I think it has just moved towards new R&B, if anything.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of. I love like more soul stuff and just things that real. I don't know how to put it without saying real. Oh, not like this new music, real music. But like that kind of singy songwriting thing that I really can appreciate it better now.
Okay, so you're you're a craftsman in this regard. You say when you're evaluating a song, I'm not saying you go there and make loads of notes about it, but what?
Yeah.
If you,
I
if
mean,
you,
I might do.
yeah, you might be that way inclined.
Yeah.
But say
Not one to go.
you think about the elements of a song. You've got the beat, you've got the lyrics, and obviously I'm quite a noob, so I might not know every detail. But what's the percentage split for you? So are you 40% lyrics, or are you more like 80% lyrics? What's inclines you to a song?
That's quite interesting. Yeah, I think there's quite a few things that will catch my ear, and things that will make me say if somebody was playing a song out of speaker, and then I'd turn my head and go, "What's that? What's that?" So there's a few things to it, to be honest. And I think depending on the genre, if it was rap, then I think lyrics are a big thing naturally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it is kind of formed around your ability to write good lyrics. But then even I think with rap it'd be more like 50-50. So if the beat's really good and the lyrics are good, then it's something that I'd like. And I think since being a producer, it's kind of a bit more of 60-50, 60-40, I mean.
Yeah, good maths there. But you think about, I think what makes some of Kanye's songs so good is kind of like, I just think of that Yeezus album, and some of those songs are just, I think they've got great lyrics. Like, you think of New Slaves, that's talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Like, institutional racism, stuff like that. And that was quite a revolutionary album. But then you think about songs like Bound To, and then the sudden changes of direction in that song. So just going like,
oh, yeah.
And then it's like, and then it's like, honey, and then it's just, I love that bit of that song, and then it's just, that's what I appreciate about that. So I get, but it's very interesting what you say about the genre. Is like, I guess it does depend from genre to genre.
Definitely. I think. What would you say, Jeffin and Connor? How do you think how important the lyrics are and the instrumental are? How is it for you? How would you listen to music and determine whether it's something that you'd like? If is it all about the lyrics? Is it
I mean,
not really at all?
to me, I don't really pay attention to the lyrics that much. I don't deep it. Like,
Yeah.
I just kind of vibe off the beat. If the beat's good, then I just vibe to it. Like, the lyrics don't mean much to me.
You think
in
about
that
a
sense
lot of
way.
iconic songs. It's like, I guess it's a bit of both because most iconic songs you know them for the chorus, so it's kind of like Freddie Mercury,
Yeah.
"We Are the Champions," stuff like that.
Yeah,
But like that's
Yeah.
iconic as well because if you said it in a beat like "We are the champions," it wouldn't be as
Yeah,
iconic.
it's kind of it's a mix there of like the lyrics, obviously, but then it is that melody and the actual the kind of rhythm of how it's said. It's like da 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 da. It's quite memorable. As
Yeah.
simple as it
I
is,
saw
it
that
is something that
my
people like.
Wi-Fi cut out a bit then.
Oh well.
Yeah, don't worry
Glad you're
about
back.
it.
So what do you feel about for a song for you, Connor? Do you prefer the lyrics or is the sound of it more effective in your enjoyment of a song?
Well, obviously, it comes from different perspectives, obviously, because I don't. If you make beats and stuff, you'd beat a lot more. But I'd say about 50-50 normally, because you can have good lyrics and it can be shit beat, and it just won't bang as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So if you
So
think about what's your favorite song like right now, I don't know if it might be the same as last week.
favorite song right this second.
Go on, have a look if you Spotify. Go on.
Alright, give me a quick second.
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll leave it there. Come on,
It
give
changes.
him a minute.
It changes every minute.
Mm.
In the meantime, what's your
You've got to
favorite song
find new
right now?
music
Just
every day.
get it out there, Elliot.
Oh, again, I'm gonna have to look back to my Spotify dead quick.
Okay.
Go, JJ.
favourite
What's
song-
yours? What's yours, lad?
Mine's the same as last week, so it's a bit of a boring answer. But I for some reason I just keep every night I just put in "Dancing in the Moonlight" on because I don't know, it just reminds me of happy times, happy times.
That is
The
great.
good old
Love
days.
that.
Mm.
I
Good
think I
old
found
days.
the song that I love
Okay, what
Go
was
on,
at the moment. I'm stuck between "Loose" by Daniel Caesar and my other top 5 that I didn't finish. "To Zion" by Lauryn Hill. That
Lauren
is
Hill,
a
back
banger.
at
Love Lauryn Hill.
I've not heard any of them, but I expect them to be bangers because they come from you.
It's just like a good vibe song. It's one of those that the Lauryn Hill one. It's about a daughter and her son actually, and he's a first child, and the whole because she's quite young. She was 21 and she had a first child, and it's basically just a song about that. And the story behind it is that she heard the beat and she heard the producer that she was working with just playing the guitar, and then she was like, "That is just what I couldn't put into words." So then she just made the song. It's just a great song.
Have you ever had a moment like that? It's kind of, have you ever say when you're creating a beat, have you ever been really stuck about this just isn't working, or is it?
Oh yeah.
Does some what? It's a.
Oh,
Does it sometimes just all come together, or does it take? Does it have to take a while? So like this bit might become good, but then it might be 3 hours before the next bit comes good. Is it a long process?
It's weird because sometimes I'll just be on a roll and I'll just keep coming up with stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And recently, like I had one of those moments where I have an idea and then it almost always just seems to go well, and then I keep going, and then it's relatively smooth, but I think naturally you're not going to be like that every day. So there's been times when sitting at the piano and I'm trying to make chords, and it's just so stressful because it's just draining when you don't have any ideas. And I think when you're like me and you do it every day, it's so easy to get burnt out because I'll just be sitting there and I'll just be like, I have absolutely nothing. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think there's this thing called like life. I think it's called like life astronomer, and I think it applies a lot to my life. So I know that was just about music, but like life in general. When I feel like I'm exercising well, I feel like I study better. It's kind of like a domino effect. If
Yeah.
something's going well, I'm more likely to make everything else go well. And it's the same with everything's like not quite clicking. So it might be a domino effect in that regard. So once you get the beat right, well, a certain part of the beat right, it might flop. And
That's very interesting. What's it called?
Life's Donovo. I might have just made the name up, but I remember speaking about it with Mr. Kasadi. So yeah, it's quite the
Rest in peace.
yeah.
Connor, mate, what's your favourite song?
I should say, God forbid. I don't want anything to happen to our mate.
Yeah,
But
Marcus.
Mark.
Yeah, Connor, what's your favourite song at the moment, currently?
Man in the Mirror, Michael Jackson.
Oh,
that is a surprise. I'm surprised.
I'm surprised.
This is a
I'm
question.
very surprised.
I really like Michael Jackson, but ever since the allegations are just I
Yeah,
can't.
you can't listen to that and think. You can't listen to that and just think that is not something you just get up and dance to.
He's
you know
great, but
Yeah.
he does. It just
Like
it comes back
his
to me.
music life is different to his personal life, but it still affects his music life.
I just
In a
don't
way.
work for me. I just
Yeah.
That's actually right. This is a question. Do you think it's important to separate the artist from the art, or do you think you just can't help but like it? Do you think it affects it? Like, if there's some nonce artist that it's forever just you can't enjoy the music.
You want it to be separate, but it always links back together, whether you want it or not.
Yeah.
And it affects it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think I can separate the artist from the art because I think when somebody's put something out, it's kind of it isn't. They're not putting out their entire personal. It's like music, for example. They're not putting out their personal life. They're putting out something that they've made, and I think that's something that is like untouchable.
I guess that's like footballers.
When an artist does that,
because I don't really like Frank Lampard, for example. I just think he's a prick, to be honest. But he was like one of my favourite players just because he was class. I guess
you can't deny.
I can appreciate the quality.
Yeah.
So I guess that's similar in that regard.
Yeah.
It's something that when it's somebody's like, I mean, that's a great example with football. It is their job. It's what they get paid to do. So I think when they're going out and doing their job and showing their art form, and same with music, it's kind of important it's them whilst they're working. It's not them. That makes sense. So it's kind of you can appreciate what they're doing.
It's a different part of the mind, really, isn't it? It's the creative part instead of the evil.
I think, like, do you know Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
I think it's a good example of that because obviously he was one of the best, and then he went to jail for what he went for, if you know. And then a lot of people's opinions changed, but he still came out. You know what I mean? Who he was. So he's one of them.
Yeah, you can still watch his matches and be like, "Geez,
he's just the greatest of all time." Yeah. One of the greatest.
I think even those who don't agree with him as a person, for whatever reason that is, you can't help but watch him in the ring and just be in awe and like appreciate that he is someone that is good at what he does.
Yeah. 100%.
This is kind of related, but not really. Say you look at a historical figure from about 100 years ago, and I'll use the classic example of Churchill. Do you judge him off today's society, or do you judge him off. Well, you can just say, "Oh, it was the sign of the times" and stuff like that. Or should we judge historical figures and what they said in the past from today's standards?
No, because
everything changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like back then was completely different to what it is now. Like everything's different. Society's different in a way as well. How they see stuff.
Stuff that was normal then is like illegal now, and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
But it's probably devil's advocate.
I do think though.
Go on.
Yeah, I think that I can't help but just from the way I was brought up and just how I view the world, that I can't help but see something and like have like a gut reaction to not agree with it. Like looking back in history, and as much as it is, maybe more people would have been like that, and whether it's they were racist or sexist, more people would have been like that. But naturally, I look back at it and think, okay, just because of that doesn't mean I can agree with it. But then again, I think like it is an interesting example of separating the. I mean, can you say it's an art, like stopping a war?
Yeah.
Separating the art from the artist, because it's, I think, something that, regardless of Churchill's personal life, I think during that period of time, he did a good job.
And his art of like inspiring the nation to get through it was admirable. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that naturally you can appreciate that, and then I think George can swoop in and tell me all about it because I know nothing. But he apparently he had a second term and then he really fucked up.
Yeah, a lot of them did back in that day. But history lesson from music lesson to a history lesson there.
Smooth transition though. I gotta say though, boys.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it coming.
I got a question for you, Elliot. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Okay. All right.
Where do I see myself in 10 years? I'm going to quote Matthew McConaughey, and in 10 years, I'm going to be looking ahead for myself in 10 years. The person that I strive to be like, my idol is myself in 10 years. And then in 10 years, it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, well, I'm now like my idol. It's going to be always 10 years. It's going to be
always looking forward.
Myself, yeah.
Do you never want an end?
I think it's just life, isn't it? It's just you can't really. Life is all about just having some direction.
Do you not strive for like a I made it moment or like job done?
I feel like I do really. I'm one of those people that appreciate the journey more than the victory, I guess, or the destination.
I think that's probably a good attitude to have, because I remember a story from Tyson Fury, and he'd won the world championship, and that was his goal for all those years of training. And then he went to his hotel room and just started crying, didn't he? Because it was there's no direction now, and obviously he was very depressed. So I guess that's a good direction to have. But in career-wise, do you see yourself as a producer, or is this? I
think give it 10 years. I do think that I want to be like, whether it's something that whether it's 10 years or 2 years or 20, I don't really care, to be honest. It's something that I want. I would want to be in 10 years making music that's actually, and have people listen to it and vibe with it, and people to actually like know that it's me, and people to be like, oh yeah, that's Elliot Taylor. Quite like that.
Do you want the recognition?
Yeah, it's like that, to be honest. I think just that any musician can agree with me. It's kind of just more about being appreciated. If that makes just like somebody to, or a big following to kind of just agree. You've added something.
Would you rather die and no one liked you when you were no one likes your music when you were alive, but then it's kind of like 100 years on,
like Vincent van Gogh.
Yeah, that kind of thing. It's like, and then you're known as like one of the greats of all time, but just not in your lifetime. Would you rather be a middle to high quality, really well liked in your lifetime, or would you rather be the great but not in your lifetime?
That is really interesting.
Because like, you don't get any recognition while you're alive, though. That's the thing that you got to think about. You want to live your best life.
Yeah, I
sticky
think
one. Very sticky one.
Yeah, definitely very sticky. I think it was 3 options you gave, though, wasn't it? It was so if it was between the 2, that would be a really hard question. Between be kind of a decently recognised, and then as soon as you die, you're just forgotten about, or the kind of like Vincent van Gogh.
Or you could be one of the best today, but then but in the future be recognised as everything that was wrong with music 50 years ago.
Wow, that is actually
despised.
Yeah. Oh, that is a tricky question. It's like that.
So you could be like Kanye, but then in 50 years we're like Elliot Taylor. He was an absolute joke.
He was a nightmare.
he held us back for so long.
God, that is really hard. I don't even want to think of right. I think there's different things that do it. I think leaving a legacy is one thing, or then again, it's like I do want to have that feeling of being appreciated. But then I think if I'm making the art and I'm happy making the art, even if I don't think anybody cares about it, I think I'd like to think that would be enough. But I think naturally I'm that type of person to when I make something, it is kind of nice to have somebody, just whether it's like my mum, just say that's nice.
Yeah,
it's just kind of one of those things that is something that it's like an achievement. I do kind of smile at that and think,
there's only so much like internal gratitude you can have, because like if you constantly just like there's no praise at all, does it come to a point where you're like just no enjoyment comes from this?
I think with a lot of artists as well, it can become draining. That at first, like you said, you can only have so much, and it is good to think that I'm that type of person. I don't really care about the money, or I don't care about people appreciating it as long as I'm doing it. But then again, it is kind of natural. You're going to get to a point where you've never had anybody say anything about it. It's very kind of it's very draining and demoralizing. Yeah. So I don't know, to be honest. I think I would like to have people recognize me, but then being a great would be something I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Have you got a new mic now then, Elliot?
Oh yeah. I'm using the mic that I use for Zoom calls, but I've got this mic for mainly like instruments, and I was using it for vocals as well.
Yeah. Have you started working more on vocals?
Yeah, actually. And more R&B stuff. So working on some stuff, yeah.
Decent,
that's all I can say.
So, what's a career like in music? So, will you work for a company and make stuff for them, or will you be like freelance on your own, and then hope you can make something that can go quite big?
I think I'd want to be more freelance and have it more that kind of attitude of I don't want to be a cog in the system, just like an independent person. But then I think there's some people like that kind of security that comes with being, part of a company and being employed. But I'm not sure if that's for me. And I'm sure others, you lot can agree. There's a part of that where you feel you want to be recognised as you.
Yeah. Have your own thing. being self-made and having that recognition.
Yeah. I think there's parts of that I'm not massive. I'm not in some like massive position right now, but there's different things. Like even if I just look at self-made in terms of like learning, I do pride myself in the fact that a lot of the things that I know in terms of music, I am self-taught, and I just like looked at videos and used the internet to just teach myself. So it's kind of that. It is a good feeling to be able to look at what you've done and look at what you know, and then be able to say, "I did this, just me."
Yeah. I can say that as well with you, because I appreciate. So like when you first started with your music and your beat making, I remember when you came to Brad's house without, and then how far
I knew nothing.
And how far you've come from now. It's just mad. Like we've been there, and you know what I mean. So it's, we can see the process.
It's quite mad when I think about it. And any time that I'll just see, 2 years ago today, or which still feels mad to say 2 years, or when I see something, sometimes it makes other producers can agree. When you look at an old beat or an old like you cringe a little bit. You think, "Oh God, what was I doing there? Why did I do that?"
I think you'll be the same in like 2 years' time from this as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I think naturally, but then there's a part of me that I look back at that stuff and I don't necessarily cringe it. I kind of think I really had a lot of creativity, and I really had ideas there. I might not have known how to go about them, but I can tell that I actually have the passion.
You had the rudiments of something great. It's just now have the more knowledge to build on that. Yeah, that's it's a very interesting process.
Does it motivate you looking back at your old work?
Yeah, I think it does.
Seeing how far you've come in that short period of time, and seeing how far you can go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting thing, that feeling of, like you just said, how far you can go now. So you look at how far you've come, and in that short space of time, all that stuff that you've learned. So you kind of have that feeling where you look ahead and you're like, yeah, I can actually go quite far with this.
Is there any upcoming projects that the people should know about?
Ooh, nothing that's concrete, but I would definitely be on the lookout, because I am getting into songwriting. I've done a lot more of that, singing, and just producing. So I'm paving out my own way, my own lane.
You know, the songwriting process. It's the songwriting process. I find I don't think I could ever do that, because again, is your lyrics like mainly metaphorical, or are you quite literal? Because you're supposed to it's kind of like English, aren't you? You're supposed to show not tell. Is it kind of like
show not tell? Yeah.
Yeah, that must be very difficult.
I mean, up until really, really recently, I was hopeless at writing lyrics, and I actually still would say I have a lot of improving to do. But my mate Jack, he's been getting into it, and he actually showed me some of the stuff. I was one of the first people that he would show. Look, I've wrote this. What do you think? And I was actually just like kind of taken aback, because I was like, how have you written that, mate? Like, that is amazing. So he's taken notes from him, and he's helped. And I've kind of I understand now that you just got to write. You just got to sit and write.
Yeah.
And just use what you know, and don't try, because I'm not gonna write a song about stabbing people, because I've never stabbed someone. So I'm not gonna write. Yeah, I'm gonna write about what I know, and it's important to use what you know, because it's something that, like in terms of metaphor and show not tell, I wouldn't know what it's like for that example. I wouldn't know the different feelings that go into it. So I mean, especially with this type of writing, like R&B, it is about linking things, and the way my writing works is very word association. So if I was thinking about something that I do understand, so like, I don't know, feeling grateful is a really vague thing, but feeling grateful, I would understand different things that would go off that and different things that go into that, so I could write more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but if it was something that was completely out of my knowledge and I didn't understand it, then it'd be a bit limited. I might be able to make a cool sounding thing, but I wouldn't fully understand it enough to write a full song.
Yeah, wouldn't have that soul to it. Do you think
Yeah.
songs always have to have like a deep meaning, or do you think you can just have like try to think of a song that isn't that deep, but it's just quite kind of a vibe?
Good.
Do you want to go? Are you that bothered about making vibe songs, or are you more of a trying to go deep in lyrics and stuff like that, or a bit of both?
Yeah, I think a bit of both. A bit of both, to be honest, because I'm not one of those people to only listen to like really depressing stuff or really vibey stuff. I'm never just one thing. I always listen to different types of music. I can appreciate when there's, whether it's just like some like trap sound or even like some drill or then R&B as well. That it's kind of, I can appreciate when there's just something that's it just feels good, and regardless of like how much how deep it is, I feel like when you can vibe to it, there's something special about that. So I do want to make something that I would like. Yeah. So something that has a bit of, you can vibe to, but if you really look into it, it means quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah. So say you like to you write about things you have knowledge on. Have you ever thought about like, because I know you're quite religious, quite like myself to be honest. Have you ever thought about gratitude to God, and how is your relationship with God right now, if you don't mind sharing?
Oh yeah, I think it's definitely, it's always going to be there, and that's just how I view it. And I think I've kind of, I had some big long conversation with my mum, and that's where I get quite a lot of my religious
values and stuff,
beliefs.
Like
yeah, my values. And we're talking about the topic of nuance, and nuance in all aspects of life, really, and including religion. And I think there's nuances to it, so you don't have to just be one thing and agree with everything or disagree with everything. So I think there's things within like a kind of an institution that I don't agree with, but then again, I still do agree with, just like having a relationship with God. And I definitely think it's always going to be it. So I would definitely, when I'm when I reach a point in my life where I kind of like spiritual point, I guess, or something where I'd have some calling to write about it, then I can definitely see myself writing in some way about God.
You know, when you're talking about nuances, are you talking about like certain parts of the Bible and things like that, and certain members of the religion, the church and stuff like that? Yeah, that's quite interesting, because I'm of the opinion, I look at the Bible and like, God didn't write it. Like, obviously, the people who wrote it were like thought they were. I'm like, I think this might be a really horrible opinion, but religion as the world as a whole, like, this might be quite selfish because this is the view I have with my relationship with God. But like, I think it goes wrong when you go into when people care about the scriptures too much. I think when people just have a spiritual relationship with their God, I think it brings the best out of them. It's just when they look at certain scriptures and
they look into it a bit too much,
yeah, because they want to be like as praised to God as possible, and he's like, they look at certain,
I think that's the way,
and I think that's where things go wrong. But personally, it's just the spiritual reality, spiritual relationship with God is kind of like, I mean, that's the most special bit.
Something that can't be into. I think it's something that can't be put into words, and when people do look into it, and they really, because that's, to be fair, that is kind of, you've been taught that is the holy book, you know, and with every religion, and I think it is important to have your own opinion, and it's important to have your own experience and your own way of connecting with God. So it doesn't just have to be you read every line of whatever book.
You're not just a cog in the church. You're your own being.
I think, with nuances, I was talking when me and my mum were having the conversation that it spreads out to everything, really. And I think I will definitely say that I am a nuanced person, in not trying to be edgy, but just in the fact that I have different things that I agree with, but it's never just one thing. It's never just I agree with this, disagree with everything that isn't this. It's kind of I'm not just one thing.
It's
like
elements of an argument. So say you've got the argument of I'm trying to think of an argument on the top of my head.
Controversial ones that I'd like to talk to my mate about.
Say you have two patients in a hospital and the doctor can only treat one, and then you got the argument of should you treat the younger one or the older one. You kind of agree with the nuance that both of the spiritual lives are each as important, but kind of like you can also take the nuance of mathematically you can save more years with the other one.
Yeah, and then I think also people can. It's when you're somebody that isn't nuanced or you're not very accepting, and I think that like it's kind of unrealistic to think that anybody's like that. I think everybody has nuances to them. Nobody's just black or white. It is kind of. Say if there was that situation and somebody answered, "Oh yeah, I think a child's like you save their life," then it's easy for somebody asking the question to kind of be a bit evil and flip it and then go, "Oh, so you're saying this?" So if you agreed
that
with
happens
it then,
so much in society.
And then you're like, "Well, no, just because I said it then doesn't mean." So it's like, "Oh right, oh, so you're saying that." Another example involving a child and an old person. It's like, oh, is that what you think?
It's like when I'll say to someone, I'll be like, I just don't know what Biden's doing. I just think he's doing a terrible job. And he's like, oh, so you want Trump? Like, no, you can.
That's what's difficult about it.
Yeah, it really damages like arguments that can make progress. Just because people want to just hound people all the time.
Yeah,
really.
I started the conversation with my mum after me and George spoke about nuance, and we were talking, and it was basically all about like that exactly with Biden and Trump, and how we can see that with everything that's going on, there's people who they kind of move towards one side just because it isn't the other thing, which is quite worrying. That people. I mean, whether it is left or whether it is right with America, that people see, well, I don't like the leftists and the blue-haired people, so I'm going to do the other thing, which is Trump. So it's important to just have like your own opinion, I think, and just you don't have to agree with everything. Just have your own values and agree with what you like and form it around something that you already have, and don't just base your whole personality around one or the other.
Yeah, people want a tag, don't they? Like, I want to be a conservative. I want to be a leftist. But just have your own. You need to be strong enough to form your own values and opinions.
Definitely.
Which is a struggle in today's society. But Jephin, you've got some would you rather's, haven't you?
I do. First, before the would you rather's, right? We've got some questions from the people.
Questions for the people.
The mob army, as we call it.
The mob.
When I mean the people, I mean three people. Jesus. Right, before we do anything, if anyone guesses this point of the podcast, I want you all to go to the comments and type in James has shit hair.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
Egg.
Mob up on him.
Shut up. Better than yours.
Oh, get Josh Lee. Right. Go on. Says the same mob joke every time. I'm not happy at all. But anyway, I can't.
First question. Where would you like to be in 10 years' time?
Oh, well.
James first.
Is this for us all?
10 years' time. Yeah. I'd like to have achieved. I'd like to be 10 times the person I am now. I guess I'd have to put it like that. But also, I'd like to have become a man, because I think I've grown up a lot in the last year, but I'd like to.
You say you're not a man. You say you're not a man. So you're a woman.
I identify as a tree, as if you didn't already know. But yeah, I'd like to be like I've officially gone into manhood and like I'm mentally solid. Anyway, Connor,
what about you, Connor?
I can't buy that. All right. That job.
What was it? Was it 10 years?
Become Rapunzel. Carry
on. I'd won a couple of gyms around the UK.
Okay.
10 world titles. That's one a year. That's minor.
10 world titles.
No, 10 years. What would I be like? 27. So I'd say just be comfortable in the way I go. So like, say if I wanted to go like through the UFC route or like the one championship route, glory kickboxing, whichever one I go into, just be like,
you're happy with it.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, be known in that sport, whichever pathway I take.
I hear that. What about you, Elliot?
I think a similar thing, really, where kind of happy with where I'm at, but then also happy that I can adapt and happy that I have my hand in, what's the how's the phrase go? Like you have, Oi, mate, come on.
That's sexist.
Keep it PG. Oh, come on, mate. That's just not on. Right, I put eggs in different baskets where it's like I have different options that I could choose, like create a bit of a portfolio where I could do different things and just kind of be happy.
Become more like well-rounded.
Definitely creative, and also respected is a big thing.
That's class, yeah.
I hear that.
How about you, Jephin?
Me,
what about you, Jeff?
Personally, I think, first of all, I want this channel to blow up. The Mob Podcast, right? I want to have our own mobbers, at least 1 million of them. 1 million mobbers in 10 years. Right?
Yeah. Mob merch, did I hear? Mob merch?
Mobbers, yeah. And then I'm my own little, them therapeutic places that you go to, right?
Yeah.
I want like a couple of them that I own and that around the country. Yeah. Not many people know about that. Like therapeutic places.
Well, therapeutic is in like actual like counselor therapy kind of.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Actually, that's sick.
Yeah. So I want a couple of them, and then obviously, social worker by them. So
is that what the career that you want to?
Yeah.
That's sick. Actually, see, I think I have massive respect to anybody that is in that sector and anybody that does that because it's so important.
Jeez,
they don't get the respect that they or kind of the praise linking it back. They don't get that appreciation. I think they definitely deserve more than what they do get.
You think about
so much.
You think about if we say the work we do day to day. So Connor's doing his fighting and stuff like that, and then you doing with your music college. Me and Jephin are both at college. It's like we're just doing our work and stuff like that. So we come across different things, but like most of a counsellor's day is going through people's like darkest thoughts, darkest moments.
Exactly. Yeah.
So to get through that, they must be very mentally strong themselves. So very admirable.
Yeah, and very patient. I think, especially because they must be working with people who don't really speak very good about themselves, and you can imagine. So it's kind of they have to be able to sit for hours, spend that time with them.
It's not an instant result, is it?
No.
Yeah, and it's putting other people before themselves.
Yeah.
Which is just, I respect anybody who does that in whatever way.
Yeah, and shows a lot about you, Jephin, that you aspire
thank
to
you.
help people in that way.
Much appreciated. Right, next question from the man himself, Connor Neal. Favorite album.
Oh.
Favorite album.
I think we'll start with Connor because that's his own question.
Yeah.
Right, go on, Connor. What's your favorite album?
I don't know if it's actually called this, but the Drake one with the head. Is it Nothing Was the Same?
Yeah.
Yeah, that album. Forever. Every time you listen to me, it just never gets sold from me. So that album is pretty hard.
I hear that. What about you, Elliot?
I think I can't ever narrow. When it comes to music, I can't ever narrow it down to one thing. So I'm just looking now at a few of my favourites. I think if I was making a top 5, it'd be Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. It'd be What's Going On by Marvin Gaye.
Oh, that's nice.
To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick Lamar, naturally. And then Blonde by Frank Ocean. That is just it's one of those that is like I have an emotional attachment to it. And
I love Frank Ocean, to be fair. It's good.
It's just helped a lot, you know.
Okay, that's nice.
And then I want to throw in Kanye West. I'm not sure which one.
Ooh.
I am just scrolling. Oh, actually, nah. Ready to Die by B.I.G.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Some bangers there. Can't lie. Some bangers there.
What about you, Dave?
It just comes back to Juice WRLD for me because they're the most like influential in my life. So I'd probably between all of them, I'd probably just go. No, they're all. All of them went from like just worked with me, but I'd probably go Death Race for Love. So yeah, right. I'll lock that in. That's my answer.
Okay. I'm not answering because I'm not like that kind of deep into music. Don't have a favourite album or anything like that.
Yeah.
Right. And the greatest fear in life.
Oh, I got asked that, I think.
Connor Neal smash me up. Carry.
Elliot, you go.
Nah, I think there's a few things that do like scare me, and it's kind of you can kind of break it down, can't you, into things that are actual physical things, and then kind of just a bit more mental, kind of really philosophical, like kind of deep things. Something that scares me though is just the kind of thought that I think that I know everyone's going to die, and I know that I'm going to die, but it's kind of the thought that my parents are going to die, and it was this kind of thing that somebody put it on a story, and I replied to it saying that what if that happened, but also on top of that, what if we had some form of argument and we never made up and then they died? That is terrifying.
That's like a tragedy, isn't it?
Yeah, that is terrifying. So it's kind of that, like, I don't know.
You can take positives from that fear, though, because you can be like, try not to fall out with your parents for ages, obviously. External forces.
And it's something that I've always been, it's kind of one of the things that I was told growing up, to never fall asleep on an argument. And it's kind of this, it sounds like some myth, but it is actually a true story that my mum's first boyfriend, or like first serious relationship, he had an argument with his dad, and they like went to bed, didn't make up, and then didn't talk to each other for days, and then one day woke up, and then he had a heart attack and died on the kitchen floor. And the last time that they spoke properly, they had an argument and they never made up. And it's one of those that I was told growing up to never fall asleep on an argument.
Yeah,
because you just don't know really. It's kind of just be grateful.
Can haunt you, can't
and never end it like that. Yeah.
Connor, what about you? What's your greatest fear?
My greatest fear. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm really not. That's. I don't think about that.
No.
Yeah.
Not properly. No.
What about you, James?
My deepest fear is probably finite and like going down the wrong path, which I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do. But
that's kind of scary.
I was heading that way.
Yeah, it can like becomes quite irreversible as well. Yeah.
What about you, James?
Me personally, it's quite a hard one. Like the death thing's quite a fear, but I'd say it's a fear because you mentioned it. It's not something that actually haunts me, but I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know. I'd probably say losing, being lonely is quite a fear because you don't want to be lonely. But
no,
I wouldn't say it terrifies me. I'm just saying there's a lot of things I don't want, but fear's quite strong, and I don't think
I think my thing I said is not something that I think about daily. But I think when given the question, what's something that you are terrified of, or something that would worry you, I can't really think what I'm scared of daily. But yeah, if somebody like asked me to name one thing, I think it'd be that. It's not something that happens daily.
Yeah,
but it's one of those situations.
I think I'd say prison. I think I'd just. For some reason, I feel like quite often I just think, oh, I'd never do anything bad enough just in the moment just to go to prison. I don't know. It just scares me being isolated from the rest of the world. I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And also with the prison system, like honestly, I could go on about it, and just how it's really you're set up to fail.
Yeah.
Because as soon as
yeah, 100%.
With the employability after you come out, because like think about it, if somebody goes in prison, they only know the people that they're around. They only know the people that they've spent all that time with. So then when they get out, they don't really know anything else. And then when you think, all their friends have abandoned them because like, I don't want to be mates with a criminal. So then the only people that they are mates with are
criminals. Yeah.
So then they start doing work, and then it becomes you get caught again and then go back to prison. So it's really
same cycle.
Like a job is hard to get at the best of times, but then you've got a criminal record, and then these people are probably like most criminals they're probably born into like quite poor families, so
situations.
It's just there just needs to be. We talked about this in the last episode. Actually, it's just I think there's a bit of a revamp of the whole prison system.
I think it's really flawed. There's lots of problems with it.
What do you think about the argument? Say we removed prisons tomorrow.
Yeah.
How do you think? Would you think that'd be a benefit in 5 years' time?
I think it's interesting about the 5 years time bit, but I think naturally the short term would be pretty bad if there were no prisons, and if you mean every criminal that is in prison is let out, then I think that's quite bad. I do think there's definitely having prisons and having laws are really important for society, and I think there needs to be an aspect of don't do this or you get punished. Then also I think
but do you think people are naturally inclined to just do deviant things, or do you think they don't do them because of the consequences?
I think there's some there will be an aspect to people are always gonna they might lie, but I think in terms of crimes, for example, people avoid speeding because you get a ticket and you can lose your driver's license if you're speeding. So it's one of those that when there are things put in place, people know that you shouldn't do that because there's consequences.
Do you think so? Because I feel with that speeding example, I feel if society as a whole were to look after each other and be like, okay, if I speed, it might kill someone, so I won't do it.
Yeah.
Do you think that's? I think that'd be might be a better way of going about it anyway. But instead of the kind of the threat, I don't think threat actually works that great.
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of teaching people by making them fear it, teaching people to be scared of a consequence for himself.
It's kind of like you're not taught manners for the reason of if you're not taught manners because if you don't use your manners, we'll give you a slap on the wrist. I think you're taught manners because you just taught it's the right thing to do.
That's a really.
I feel with murder, obviously it's quite hard for me to go back when I was 5 years old, but I feel like murder was I was always taught murder makes you go to prison rather than murder is wrong.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I think it's one of those that there's an aspect to that where people don't do it because they know it'll be bad for them. I do think actually murder is an example where I disagree. I think that it is kind of taught that it's wrong, but then I think stuff like stealing, that's a good example where you're not told don't steal because that's someone's livelihood that you've stolen and they've worked out. you're told don't steal because you're gonna go to prison if you steal.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. That's really interesting. I never thought of it like that actually.
Yeah, could make a whole sociological research about that kind of thing. But
no, yeah, that is really good.
But Jeff,
you come with this podcast, you learn new stuff.
Yeah.
You leave a different man. That's what this podcast does to you.
Yeah. Jeff, is there any more questions or would you rather's?
No, now it's time for the would you rather's.
Oh, okay, yeah, we'll get
the big boys. The big boys.
It's the only reason I you know.
Is that?
Take a deep breath.
What can I say? Get ready. First one. Would you rather have no taste or be colourblind? Like see no colour whatsoever.
Don't see colour anyway.
Yeah, but colourblind isn't seeing no colour, is it?
It's not about that.
No, it is. Yeah, you don't see no colour. I mean, you see colours being like different colours. You see red, but that's green to you.
Yeah, but I'm colourblind. I don't notice it.
Yeah, easily I'd be colourblind.
Yeah.
Because I think
a lot of people could be colourblind and notice.
Right, yeah. True.
Actually, just going off that, I think I forgot who it was that said it, but there's this whole thing that you could go into about what if the red that you say is like you see and you think red. What if that red looks nothing like that to other people and everyone has their own red? But because everyone says that's red, they think it's really weird. And what if the way I describe, you might say the same things when someone says describe red and think, oh yeah, like fire, evil, rage. Like you might
not
think
actually the same. Like it can look different. Yeah. Like your grey can be my red. But
but then there's no way of knowing.
I mean about this so much. We could just be like an experiment for another species. Like we could just be like.
Oh, I don't even get. Oh no.
We could just be like cells and like, if we do that to that cell, how will it react to that one? So it's like this certain chemical reaction is like, okay, if those two cheat, and how will the boyfriend react?
Honestly,
that's the chemical reaction.
Just poke the brain to make it produce that chemical. Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah.
Kind of that. It's one of those that we'll never know. To be honest, but it's weird to think about.
You could go into so much of it as well, but you could go crazy as well. Yeah. Anyway, Jeff, carry on.
Right. Some deep questions. Right. Would you rather find a dead body?
Or that's one of my fears actually.
Be a witness to a deadly assault.
Ooh.
Be a witness to a deadly assault.
Like when I mean deadly, deadly, that's proper deadly. Not
you see someone get shot.
Casual stabbing.
Yeah.
They're both quite mentally scarring, but I think I'd go for the see someone get done in because if you find a dead body, just from a practical point of view, I think because I'd be panicking, I was like, I might just run away, and then that makes me look like I murdered them or something.
Yeah.
True. All right, okay.
I think, that is a weird question, but it's something that I saw it in a film where this guy, he didn't even kill this woman. There was this woman that had died. She'd been murdered, and her body had been planted on his farm. And because he was quite weird, his reaction to it makes you think that he killed her, and he just saw her body and he panicked, and he was like, "Oh God, I'll hide it in my barn." So then and then he was trying to cover it up because he didn't know how to react. When it's one of those situations that you have to think more about.
When you're in shock, you don't think about what you do. It's like when you see someone on a bike get hit down. When you're in shock, you're just just get back up on my bike and start going off, even if you might actually be seriously injured. It's stuff like that you don't.
Yeah.
I think with that one, it's easy to say because I've never been a witness to a deadly assault. But I think I'd have to go with that because it's one of them that it's a bit more simple. But it seems simple. You don't have to do much thinking. You think, okay, I can see that I've not done anything, and I don't have to do much. I can see that it's happening. And if it's one of those that there's nothing you can do about it. There's no
But then will the person who's done the deadly assault see that you've seen and then go after you.
Ooh,
that is true. James,
you're adding layers there.
James is on fire.
You're on the ball, pal.
You had your Weetabix this morning. I'd still go with
the next one.
Yeah,
go with the deadly assault, right? Yeah. Okay. Right. Would you rather get stranded in Antarctica or in the desert?
Bit fucked. I
think about this.
Yeah.
Would you rather die getting frostbite, surrounded by just ice, or would you rather go on the desert?
I'd go desert.
Yeah.
Because I hate the cold so much.
I get goosebumps in my kitchen. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna survive long.
Yeah, we don't.
Oh, I don't know, to be honest.
Would you rather drown or burn?
Oh, don't.
That was literally the next question.
No, I don't want to think about that.
I'd rather. You end up. I think someone asked me this yesterday, the exact same question, and that's a bit weird. But I said yesterday that at some point you're gonna end up blacking out when you're drowning, but burning, that's just constant. You might pass out with the pain and that, but that's just dirty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is drowning, because you can't breathe, but at some point you are going to breathe in or fucked on the water. But then again, burning alive, bro. Imagine you being strapped down and there's a fire underneath you. You know what I mean? That is not nice.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Has any of you seen that? It's this Vsauce video. Does any of you watch it?
I've always wanted to watch Vsauce, but I've never.
Yeah. Is this show called Minefield, where he goes over different topics, all based around how the human brain works. And he did one about fear and about kind of trying to figure out what one thing is the scariest thing ever to all people. And there's stuff that people, what about being in front of big crowds or spiders or clowns? But they're things that people have different views on. But then the example where they came to the conclusion that drowning is the single scariest thing ever.
Oh yeah.
Because they actually used there was this woman who had this really, really, really rare condition where she genuinely couldn't feel any fear at all. She couldn't produce the chemical that makes you scared, which there was literally some instance where he pulled a knife on her and she didn't react at all. She just didn't know how to be scared. Mm-hmm. And then they did this test on her where they simulated what it's like, what actually happens when you're drowning. So it's this, you decrease the amount of oxygen. So she was in this test room and decrease the amount of oxygen, and she can't see, your brain can't process why it's happening, because there's no it's not like there's a big tiger in front of you and that's what you're scared of. When it's something like that, you don't actually, your brain can't comprehend what's actually happening to you. So you just slowly can't breathe and then you die. And then that is just terrifying. Mm-hmm. So I'd want to be set on fire. I don't care.
Oh yeah,
it's quicker.
Yeah, I'd rather be set on fire.
It's not great either way, is it?
No. Either way, you're dead. So it's not. Yeah. Would you rather have a pause button in your life, one single pause button, or a rewind button once, one of each? Either one, but once.
It's rewind time.
So you can either rewind your life once at one point in your life, or pause your life once at one point in your life.
What's the point of pausing? Is it just having?
You can pause it and rob a bank in it and get away with it.
Oh, exactly. Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Or you could rewind and get a mistake.
But say, if you could pause the world right now, would you kill anyone?
Oh
no. But you think about there's some evil bastards out there.
Yeah. This is one of the things I've always thought
how am I going to get
about pausing. You see it in films where someone pauses and then they can walk about.
Yeah.
And do whatever they want. That is so sick. I'd want to do that more than anything.
But say I wanted to go and kill this Syrian president because he's not great. Like, say I wanted to just go out and do that. Yeah, I couldn't get a plane or anything. I'd have to kill someone local.
I just wouldn't really. I don't have that much in me to kill someone. To be honest,
that's a good question on its own.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like, would it be for the benefit of society if I killed someone? But then again, it's kind of like if Trump was killed like when he was actually president, it was like someone like Trump exists out there. It's like you need to remove the thought of and the want for Trump. So like the things that come with it. So like what Trump stands for. So like racism and stuff like that. If you want to get rid of like a Trump like figure, you have to get rid of the things that lead to him.
Things that. That's. And I think I was thinking the whole time that he was president. I was thinking, it's like, when's he gonna get an assassination attempt?
Yeah, because he's like the most hated ever.
Like inevitable, yeah. And honestly,
not once though, not once.
Yeah, the way that you'd hear about it, I genuinely just expected it. And then anytime that I think about it, I think this, as much as I think that be interesting if it happened, I just can't really imagine. I wouldn't be happy. And I run like little hypotheticals in it and think, what about even the little things like all the social media pages? Like, would people make memes about it if he was literally murdered?
100%. Yeah, they would. Definitely.
But it's like, how would you go? I think even Twitter, I think even they must have a bit of humanity in them. Because there must have been people that
Floyd died, though. Go on.
I mean people that support or are against Trump. Like even like I think.
You think there'll be rest in peace Trump? Like, you think people would actually say that?
Yeah, I would think. I was thinking of all the different things.
Because everyone has the right to life, don't they?
You
don't want anyone to die.
Yeah, and that's my view. I think that as much as I don't agree with him, I really do not. I couldn't ever, if he was assassinated, I couldn't feel any joy or any happiness. I'd be just kind of empty. I'd be like, oh, shit.
Yeah, that's
right. Okay.
You kind of want the hatred that surrounds Trumpism to die instead of the figure.
Yeah, I'd want, because I know that if that happened, there'd be like an even bigger
wave of support for him. Yeah.
And it'd be literally seen as some like martyr.
It's gotta be it's like nostalgia, isn't it? It's gotta be like when when in the Soviet Union when like Stalin died or something, they'd put the people in I think they started in China with like Mao Zedong. They like have the coffin on like a stage, and like you can't forget the bad things people do once they die. You can't like emphasize the greatness of them.
Have you seen? Yeah. Have you seen Death of Stalin? Film?
No. I want to watch more about Soviet Union.
It's actually funny. It's really funny. It's basically about the days leading up to and after Stalin like mysteriously died, and the way he died, that he just had like a heart attack and he just keeled over and died. And then and it's what's really funny about it is that it's not trying to be serious. It's not trying to, even all the Russian characters, none of them have a Russian accent. It's all just like, you got Steve Buscemi, you've got just loads of different actors, like American, and there's one guy who's from like Yorkshire, and he plays some general. He's really good film. Watch it.
They were so scared of him though, because I've not watched that film, but like I've listened to podcasts about like when Stalin died, but they didn't dare like touch his body for like 2 days. They were like, he was. It was awful.
They didn't release at all anything that he died naturally.
He's an awful bastard, but like. You got a.
Who's this? Who's this?
Stalin, who's like leading.
Oh right, yeah.
He's interested in the power and the.
Literally just some guy, and then the fact that he died just so kind of not honourably at all. He just keeled over and had a heart attack. There wasn't any like big, not even assassinated. I feel like that would be a big, massive spectacle, but he literally just in his room, in his chambers, he just fucking fell on the floor and died.
Yeah, it's like the last years of his life. He was just in his room and he couldn't actually talk. I forgot what the reason was for. So the people who were executing his decision had to kind of like work out what he was trying to say. But even they were petrified of him when like they didn't want to get what he said wrong. But he just used to sit there in his room like strangling squirrels and shit. It's like Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Who else it was?
Bloody Stalin. Bloody Stalin.
What else it was? Some massive, like, scary dictator who, in the last days, they were just some, like, old bastard. They're not like, but people were scared of the thought of them. They're like what they used to be like. That even though they are just kind of this rapid old man. I can't even think of it, but how did we even get to this point?
It wasn't even the question. It was pausing time.
Oh my god, I love that.
We just went on the used tangent.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So what we all saying? I think I'd rewind.
Nah, I'd pause.
Rewind.
Right, you're boring. You're very boring.
If I could rewind time, I could, invent a microwave and be rich.
But then you're stuck in the past, aren't you? Because you can't rewind back forward.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd actually rewind to be a fucking Viking. Me, I'm not asked.
Is this a TV show you've been watching recently?
Yeah, I've just been watching too much shit, bro.
Right, this is like the last Would You Rather, alright? It's gotta be a banger. Would you rather never age physically or never age mentally?
Physically. Easy.
That's a good thing.
Do you mean like I'm at this point? So from how I am right now, I can never age more than this.
Never age.
What do you mean by age physically?
I would like that. Like you get old and you wrinkle and your back starts like breaking and your bones wear down.
Well, yeah, obviously physically, but then again, I'd like to grow muscle and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true. I'd rather not be stuck like this as I am right now. I want to grow physically more. I can always improve.
But I'd want to grow mentally.
And then again, say
wiseness.
But then again, say you have like your wife and you have kids, and then your kid's gonna look older than you in like 17 years, and that's weird.
Yeah,
I'd want to be like Jephin and grow a beard or something. At the moment,
Jephin could get away with it.
Yeah,
he actually could.
I want Marcus to have a great beard like me. Carry on my legacy.
Yeah.
I want you lads to carry on this. I just need the toilet. And I'll come back and wander in on the conversation and not say a word.
I really need toilet as well.
Right. I'll be right back.
I'll
Should we have a break, maybe?
No, we us three will talk.
Yeah, you go for a piss. You go for a piss, lad.
Yeah, everyone say him.
I'm just saying my beard is just better than all your shit, old goatees and whatever you're not.
Connor, how's your hair doing? Is it still growing?
It's slowly.
Yeah. I've been starting the ponytail. It's like it's new look.
I've got my ponytail in right now.
Nice. See, me and Connor have started the movement of the
the ponytail movement.
We trendsetters.
Sorry.
You skinheads over there, you got nothing on us.
Us skinners are much better in my opinion. We started the movement really like.
How long do you rate it will take to grow your hair back?
Like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Easily. I got my hair back quickly.
When I shaved my head, it was in an annoying stage of like, it was really short, and then suddenly it burst out into life. But I used to be one of you, and then I progressed, moved on.
Then he changed, then he slides out. How dare you? Wow.
Well, Elliot did as well. He's got like a mullet now, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got a mullet. I mean, I don't really like mullets, but.
Yeah, say behind his back.
Don't you worry, mate. Don't you worry. Yeah. Nah, but I don't know. Mullets just find it a bit. I don't know. Like you got your own style in it. Like you do you, but mullets.
Yeah, that's too far.
Like your ponytail, mate. Like, come on.
What's wrong with ponytail's good, isn't it? Is that what he said?
No. I just don't like it.
Oh.
It's just
yeah.
Jeffin, I don't know why you shaved your hair off. I thought your hair was looking pretty good.
No.
Was it just a lockdown thing?
See, Jeffin, I respect your hair in it because
I'm getting waves.
You got the features, bro. That's what I'm saying. With you, with like a skin fade with a nasty like line or something.
Yeah, you do well. You do well.
I do well. Thank you, boys. Thank you. You're making me blush over it. Making me blush.
I was going to make an awful joke then, but I'm glad I didn't.
I'm going for a quick piss when Elliot's back. I think he's back, but I'm going for a quick piss.
Okay.
Be right back.
I'm the one persevering here because I desperately need a piss. So.
Right, you go for one. I'll go for one.
Oh, you're a legend. Thank you. This is great content.
Take a go for a piss. Bloody brilliant. How are you, Connor, lad? How are you?
I'm alright, mate. So while I'm here, I thought I'd say everyone who's watching this, go follow my Instagram, Connor.04. You know what to do.
Don't do
guys.
that. Don't do that. Go follow
it's going to be popping.
Go follow the Mob Podcast, mob.podcast. Much better Instagram. Yeah.
Link in the description. Go buy the merch. Hot merch.
Use the code Elliot for 20% off. All deals. Come on.
Right, Elliot, I've got a question for you, lad.
Go on then.
So, if anyone's watching this podcast and they want to go into the music or like the production stuff, what would be your advice to them to start off with?
Oh, good question. I'd say something that I stick by is do it every day. Just do it, whatever it is. Whether you want to play the piano, whether you want to produce, make beats like me, just work at it every day, even if it's a little bit. When you do something every day, it's that 1,000 hours rule or thing. When you spend so much time doing it, it becomes second nature. And when it's second nature, you don't have to think about doing it, and then you can spend that time thinking on making it the best that you possibly can. And it's important to get to that point where, and you do that just by spending every day a little bit, just working on it, and do it because you love it. Don't do it if you're trying to become a producer because you see Metro Boomin with a big chain on, and you think, oh yeah, I want to do that. I want to have a big chain. Then you can just stop because it's not about that, and you won't get to that point if you don't love it. Because Metro Boomin and producers who make a lot of money, they actually care about it. So they don't do it. They didn't get into it for the money, you know. So it needs to be something that you love, something that you're willing to do every day, and you're willing to spend time.
Great advice. Great advice. Love it. Well, you heard it here first, kids, from the future.
In the first episode, I remember me, Connor, and Jephin talked about how if we are money motivated or happiness, success motivated, and we like gave it a percentage. What would you say you are?
Let's go around, boys. What do you think? I'll let you answer.
Well, we sort of like answered
all three. We've answered this before. You.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I do actually think at the moment where I am in my life, there's not much that I don't think about money, to be honest. I'm not making any money. I'll be honest. I'll be completely honest. I'm not making any money. I don't do it for any money, and I don't think about how much money something's going to make me. So I think I am entirely just doing it for the love of it and doing it for me and just that feeling of I've made something. And then I think in daily life, though, I am a bit kind of money, not even motivated, but money like sensitive. I am quite stingy.
Yeah.
And anybody who knows me well knows I'm always looking for like a bargain.
Yeah, you do like
sometimes it's a bit daft and it's a bit too much. But then sometimes I quite like it. Because like, for example, I bought some guitar bass amp for like 40 quid just by bargaining, and it goes for like 300 quid.
You weighed out to 40 quid. Jesus.
Yeah.
I saw in the
story
that
the listing was quite low. The listing was quite low, and he said, make me an offer. So I was just like, 25? 15 quid shipping? And he was like, nah, I'll do 30. Like, 15 quid shipping. Like, 10 quid shipping. On it, mate. But I think, I'm money sensitive. I think about money because I'm human. But I think I am, if I had to put a percent to it, I genuinely think I am like 90-10 in terms of happiness and money. I don't really think about money that much.
Do you think money?
Just have a different bit. Go on.
Do you think money's natural? Because like you think about the tribes of, like you say, look at tribes. Like there's still some around in Oceania and stuff. They're just like chilling, doing their thing, in their way of surviving. Do you think money's quite not actually that natural? And you think
No, it's really not. It's really not.
Do you think
it's a very new thing?
Do you think when money's around, there's always going to be like people with more of it than the rest, or can money be spread equally?
I'd like to think so, and I do think it should be like that, because I think people should have an equal opportunity.
Yeah,
and most of the times, as much as people do like to say, "Oh, well, they worked hard for their money," a lot of times it's no, they were at an advantage.
Yeah,
and they were corrupt with the money that they had. So that's why now they have most of the money and no one else has anything.
The thing is, what I think about money is like I want, the way I want to start is like I kind of like want to view it as how much value are people adding. So, is like say you've got a CEO of a multi-billion-pound company. It's like are they adding value to? Are they taking more from people, or are they adding value to it? So I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So it's like someone who makes a pillows or something. They're adding value as in like it's something people need. So they're adding value and doing that bit. But say you got a banker, it's kind of like is that kind of like can society function
or like
without
that? A stockbroker is one that's quite, their job literally is just to get the money from the person's pocket into their pocket and make them think that you haven't stole the money off them.
That's
coming straight from I watched a video where a stockbroker himself, he actually runs one of Jordan Belford's companies. He actually said that's what everybody who works at Wall Street knows. That is what they're there to do. They're there to take people's money.
And they're the most rewarded, aren't they? But if they don't do it, someone else will.
But they're talented in their profession, though. They worked hard for that, though. And they think they deserve that.
Yeah, but they're not. This is what I'm saying. They're not. Really, okay, carry on.
Stockbrokers, not everyone can become a stockbroker. You need that certain talent.
No, but this is what I'm saying. Are they like do they add value to society though?
Yeah,
no, because most people like who use stockbrokers or use stocks are rich in a way, already have money.
So is there much point of having them? If you're not gonna like, if you're not adding value to society, should your occupation exist?
Now that's a very.
Because you think about Connor and Elliot, it's like they're things people want to see. They want to see like
of course
that entertainment and listen to that kind of thing. But you look at like a stockbroker, it's like is this beneficial for everyone? And some people might argue it is. It's like if they didn't do that, things wouldn't be invested and trickle down. It depends what your theory of
money-wise is.
I sound like a broken record, but I watched something.
Oh, did you?
But it's really good. He's called Jake Tran on YouTube. I recommend everyone watch him. He's great. And he goes in depth about loads of different things. Like, and he says he's like the most controversial YouTuber in terms of he talks about topics which are quite like you don't talk about. Like he talks about like corruption and the business of corruption and loads of different stuff. And he did one about this woman she's like the richest woman on Wall Street, the richest investor. and she's got like what's it? I don't know the term, but she has loads of money in terms, and it adds up to something like 500 billion. In like assets or something. In assets,
yeah, so 50 billion. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, and he was basically making the argument: is what she's saying, is she just kind of good at lying to get people to invest in her company, which actually has like the highest, like triple what normal companies charge, or is she actually genuine? And she talks about how if people invest, there's going to be this new boom of like this technological boom, and if people invest, they can make it. And she emphasized you can make a difference on the world, you can change the world. And is she doing that because she's genuine, or is she doing that so people will invest? And that's how they work. They get as when they see an opportunity, they get as many people as they can to go to them to invest, and then they boost the prices up, and then they just dip. And then usually when they do, there's a massive fluctuation in the market, and then another crash happens because they're reckless.
Yeah,
I get you. It's one of them things, which it's complicated, but
so you can argue they add something to society, because if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be like SpaceX or like different advancements.
But you could say, are you saying that as in innovation wouldn't exist if there wasn't a financial motive? Do you think that?
Yeah.
Do you actually think that? Because like you think about penicillin, that was like created by two guys and sold off for like nothing because they wanted everyone to have penicillin because it's very important, and like many of the things, a lot of things are like discovered in universities and stuff like that. And
this is like that nuance thing again, where I don't think that everything's should be financial. So I think with a vaccine, it shouldn't be spread for a financial gain, because I think that's quite fucked up.
Yeah,
people have a human right, but then I think stuff that like taking man to the moon, it's not cheap, so there will have to be money involved. And I think that's where money has power.
Money involved, yeah, but say, is money only involved because, say, if you want to go to the moon, you have to get a rocket and you have to buy the metal for that rocket. Does the problem occur when the person who's selling the metal decides they have to make a profit on that metal? So say instead they can't just because it's for the benefit of society, and society wants to go to the moon. They provide that metal, and then in return they're provided with the other things people have manufactured that benefits their life. But do you think the profit occurs when profit has to be made? And I don't know if I
know where you're coming from though about that. I can see the kind of where your ideas are coming from about how there becomes a problem when society is built around profit and stuff. And
I think it just limits how much people can get and achieve.
I think with different, whether you call them ideologies or different ideas of how society should be run, I think they're very good at saying how things are bad, but it's kind of hard to find an alternative. Money, there is flaws to it, but it's as a measure of value, it's the best that we have, and there's yet to be a good example of something that is a better way of showing money in something that's universal.
I think it'll come though, because you think about as humans, we're very clever. It's like we have drugs, and in some areas we're able to make them better. It depends. In America, not so much, but we're very good at making things more efficient and better. It's like my computer is better than a computer 10 years ago. It's like I think humans are very clever, so I feel if given a go, people can come up with a good strategy.
Magical stuff.
Here's a question. Do you think humans, stupider now?
Ooh.
What do you mean? Wait, I didn't hear the question cut out a bit.
Sorry, do you think humans now aren't as smart? People who become stupider than in the past?
A lot more people are more stupid now than in the past. 100%.
I feel. No, I think
by the past, I don't mean like medieval. I mean like in the last 100 years.
Yeah,
I think people's priorities aren't straight. A lot of people these days.
True.
Elaborate on that.
Don't know. We've obviously like social media being so big, stuff like that. Like people are working towards the wrong goals. I'm not saying that some of these goals are wrong, but you know what I mean. But like realistically, how to make that career-wise and stuff like that, and like all this stuff's being glamorized. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I agree completely.
I think it's how you define clever, because like people that are literacy rate's a lot higher than it was 50 years ago, and numeracy rate, and I think people know the basics more. It's just some crazy things are coming out, and I think a technology can make you a bit brain dead and lack a bit of societal awareness. So it's kind of like you're less knowledgeable in how to be. Well, maybe account knowledge is how to be functioning, beneficial member of society, and it's like social norms. Maybe people are losing them a bit because they don't expose themselves to the outside world as much.
Yeah, I was thinking. There's two things that made me think this. I think where I have a really bad habit of. I'm sure others can agree with lockdown, where I have a bad habit where I don't leave a house for maybe like I go outside maybe like 2 days at a time, where I won't go out, or I'll go out once and then 2 days later I'll go out again. It's really bad. And then I went out. I was working on music, and my mum poked her head around the door and said, "Look, mate, outside." she didn't say exactly.
Yeah, all right, mate. How you doing, mate?
But and I went outside, and it's kind of not a worry, but I was wondering to myself, have I become more socially awkward because I haven't been outside? And it wasn't really anything that was showing that. It wasn't like I didn't know how to look at people, or so it wasn't anything really, but I felt a bit more. I wonder if that's something that happens when you don't go outside, like even little things. So you don't look at people in the eye when they walk past you.
Yeah.
Or things like that, you know what I mean? And
it's like you're not getting as much practice in it, so you'll lose the ability.
And especially our generation, we already had kind of the disadvantage, or not disadvantage, but interesting thing of technology in our phones and stuff, where it's less likely for people our age to just that one thing of looking people in the eye when they walk past you. People are a little bit more, they don't do that. And then I think with a pandemic added, people don't go out as much. So I was wondering, does this make people more awkward? And I've thought about it when I'm having a conversation with someone in person. And I'm like, maybe I'm overthinking, but was I always like that? Or is not talking like that?
I guess that'll be a big thing. Like, obviously, we've had this recent lockdown. It's like, if when we come out of this, will we be like, and say we all meet up, and it's like, will we be looking each other in the eye and talking as freely as we used to in like school or something? It'll be interesting.
Really change us as people.
Yeah, and it might be one of those additional hidden effects of the pandemic, but
and it's like that with after World War II. There was the generation that grew up. I can't think exactly, but maybe because they had to grow up with certain things during that space, it's kind of like had a lasting effect. It's really weird.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Will we be like in 40 years? Will we be like saying to the younger generation, stop complaining, we had to do this when we were...
I hope not. Oh God,
yeah.
that's that one back.
Yeah, that'll be...
I don't want to be like that. God. And then the other thing, it's a bit more light-hearted, but my dad recently got an Alexa. He treated himself, and he's bought an Alexa, and it's so... Even I find it jarring. I'm supposed to be, this young generation, but I just walked in, I was like, talking to my mum, the radio was playing, and she just said, Alexa, stop the radio. And I was like, what?
Oh,
like,
I hate Alexa. Oh, it's just... Because, I don't know, people just... It's like, we'll just be round the table eating some dinner, and it's like, suddenly... And we'll be like, oh, it might be snowing tomorrow. And then my sister's like, Alexa, is it snowing tomorrow? We don't have to involve Alexa in this conversation.
No, but I think Alexa's great in like Google Home. I just think it's brilliant, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's what I had in mind when I was thinking about, are people more stupid? Maybe not stupid, but like lazy.
Yeah.
So will people, instead of even a little thing like get out your phone and look up what the weather is. Some people will just go, Alexa, what's the weather?
If you don't have your phone near you, though, it's kind of easier to like just say, Alexa, what's the weather? Or
exactly,
stuff like that.
Easier.
Would you have internet in your brain if it was an option? So you could just go like, I guess you could think like Google, tell me this. Would you have?
That'll lead to a lot of other like things. Leading to that, like when you're having an exam or something, you can just easily cheat, and no one will know.
I get, but like maybe this technology is like, you can tell when someone's going on and someone's going off. So it's like you might have a light on your head or something. But that is like, that's like another level of laziness, though.
Yeah, 100%.
I wouldn't want that, to be honest. And I'm not trying to be like dead deep about it, but there's kind of quite like being, sometimes spending time not on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or kind of that, I think when there's that, if I was always able to just check the internet, I would, because I know what I'm like. So I think even having a phone in my pocket is bad enough. Yeah. So I think if I had it literally in my brain, then be on it all the time.
I'm the same way. Like, I like to take a break, but then I'm taking a break and I'm like, oh, I'm just watching the TV. Like 10 years ago, I'll be like, well, if I was this age, I'd be like, oh, I should take a break from the TV. And it's like, there's not many things I can do instead that I might have been doing 40 years ago. Which,
oh wow, yeah.
I guess the only release you get in that is kind of like exercise, or if you read a book or something like that. People's lives were very restricted back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Here's something that I've actually been doing recently that I hinted at. I've decided I want to learn Italian.
Learn a language is the best thing you'll ever do.
I said that about Spanish last year, and I tried it for like a month, and it just didn't work.
Do you remember any of it?
Well, no. Well, the problem is with me, my memory's like proper shit.
Yeah,
anything that you tell me about in school, I would not remember that moment unless it was like a video or a picture of it.
But like Elliot, on your Italian, like I've tried to keep it quiet because I don't want to be like, oh, look at me, I've done this. I've been learning Spanish for since April, I'd say.
I remember getting, it was something for your birthday or Christmas. You showed us that you had some Spanish DVDs or something.
Yeah. So I've been. I'm mainly doing it on Duolingo, to be fair. But I've invested in like trying to get better at reading. But yeah, it's good because like I'd say I could go to Spain and communicate okay. So yeah,
come on, give us a bit of a. I'm putting you on the spot. I'm not even trying to hide it. Give us a bit. Say the weather today is nice.
Go on.
I put me under so much pressure. Now I forgot what weather it is. Let me just Google it.
Let me just get out.
I know the next to it. It's just.
Go on. Just
la clima hoy is bueno. That's the weather today is nice.
Very nice.
Okay. Oh, it's El Tiempo. That's what it is.
El Tiempo.
Yeah, El Tiempo hoy is bueno. Yeah, es bueno.
See, don't. As much as I turned that on you, you can't do that to me now.
Yeah.
Because no. You've been learning Italian. You've turned your phone all Italian, haven't you? Now,
like I actually have.
Shit, have you?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's a commitment.
Yeah, my mate, he learned Italian. No, not Spanish, and he's now he's fluent in Spanish. And it took him like 4 years.
Changing his phone to Spanish.
No.
Oh, I was
going to say. He says that it does help. Quite surprising. Like it's weird, and it makes it's like subconscious. It has a subconscious effect on you. So you don't think about it, but you'll start. If you think about, say, when you plug your phone in to a charger, says that it's like, or say, you're on 10%. You get a little message that says you're on 10%. You don't really think about it, but you know what it means when it comes up. So imagine if then suddenly it switched to, in my case, Italian. So then when you charge your phone, it comes up with the same message. You know what it means, but now it's Italian. So it's kind of subconsciously, you know what that thing that's being said means. If that makes sense. Like, you know that those words mean this. And it's a little thing, but and obviously you do have to do the work and do lessons and actual, learning the language. But it's a little detail that is quite helpful. And you wouldn't think it would, but it adds up over time.
Yeah.
Well, I hear that.
If we have you on your podcast, I assume we'll have you a second time. We'll have an update on the Spanish and life in general.
Italian, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
No. Anyway, we have been going for an hour and 51, so that is very substantial, especially compared to the rest of the podcast we've done. So
it is.
Shall we wrap it up, lads?
Yes, I'd like to say "mi lasci in pace," which means "leave me alone, please." That's a good way to
end. Any last words, Jephin?
Suck your mum.
Yeah, very, very, very elegant.
Yeah.
Connor, any last words?
Chase your dreams.
That's
okay. Motivational.
A great message. And I'll say.
Go on, anytime today.
Goodbye, and like the video and comment, please, because that'll be.
Hold on.
Be more interactive. Be more.
I am just flicking through this dictionary to try and find "suck your mother."
Okay, yeah.
Suck your madre.
Okay. Cheers for that, Elliot. Cheers.
Yeah. So
like and subscribe.
we'll leave on that note. Goodbye, everyone.